Good morning and welcome back to the Three Ball Podcast. We're just three dudes talking all about college basketball every single day that we can. And we are done with this weekend slate, and we are super excited to recap everything. A little preview of the Final Four. It felt like this weekend, so it was some crazy,
it was a great weekend.
Amazing weekend.
Games. Yes, absolutely. So we got to cover all those things. We got to do our pick'em segment.
Oh, yeah.
We got to review some accolades from the week that just passed. And, of course, we got to look at some mid-majors. So we're going to hop into all of that right now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Roll tape. Let's go.
Roll tape. Let's do it.
A three. Good! You can't be serious with that shot.
All right, we mentioned mid-majors, and we have mid-major Michael here to talk about them. Michael, we're going to recap what happened this week in the mid-major. All you, baby.
Yeah, I got you. So we had a big one on Friday, I believe. It was St. Louis against VCU.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
And St. Louis ended up winning 88-75.
I got that one wrong.
And yeah,
I bet on
that's okay.
VCU. That's okay.
That's okay. Hey,
Who
VCU
are they?
was super
Adam,
hot.
what's their mascot?
No idea. The Rams.
The Rams. The Rams.
Okay, we got it.
But anyways, with this win, St. Louis is now 25-2 overall, 13-1. They got back after their Rhode Island loss. They strengthened their grip on first place with this win. And now VCU falls at 21-7, 12-3 in A-10 play, but they're still very much in the hunt. But now that was a key loss because that would have been such a huge win for them.
Yeah.
For St. Louis, this didn't look like your typical win for them early. VCU jumped out to a 42-33 lead at half.
I thought they had it, bro.
I know. That was crazy. But they forced St. Louis to play from behind, and St. Louis came out of the locker room, just looked locked in after intermission. They used intense ball pressure to win that game, and they had a 24-4 run.
Wow.
Jeez.
Which is crazy. And that surge, there was not only offense, but also their defense really stepped it up at that point in the game. And like I said, VCU had entered the game with a 10-game win streak.
Oh, yeah.
And, they looked like they could have extended that to 11, but St. Louis came, smacked them back down.
Ooh, smacked them.
They smacked them all right.
They
won by 13
definitely did
points.
by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for St. Louis, they're, like I said, sitting at the top of the A-10. Their next game, they go on the road against Dayton, which should be a really good game as well.
That'll be fun.
And VCU has a much easier matchup for their next game, which is a home game against Fordham. So I think
Rams.
that they'll...
Are they really?
They're the Fordham
They're
Rams.
the Rams,
Yes.
too?
Guys, I think
Wow.
the whole Atlantic 10 is the Rams.
The
Yep,
Rams.
except for George Mason.
Yeah.
Anyways, so VCU, they can start a winning streak again, hopefully. And the second game I have is a wild one for a couple reasons. So Western Kentucky went on the road to Liberty, and they won 94-73.
Gee, wait. Isn't Liberty good?
Yeah, Liberty's been amazing. So this,
what?
they've been at the top of the conference this whole entire season. I mean, they were 23-3
Jeez,
going
what
into
a
this
win.
game, and Western Kentucky was 15-11 before this game. So it's absolutely wild. I mean, this was Liberty's first conference loss this season, and Liberty did not stand a chance in this whole entire game. But Western Kentucky, they jumped out to a 48-37 lead at half. So there was no defense played in that first half, but there was a whole lot of offense.
That's how you like it.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, they ended up winning 94-73, so it's a 21-point lead. So they held on to that throughout the whole game. They just were dominant. They out-rebounded Liberty 34-20, and they out-rebounded them on the offensive glass 10-1. So they allowed
wins
one
games.
That is really
offensive
good.
rebound. And actually, that's been a huge issue for Liberty this season. They currently rank dead last at 365th for offensive rebounding.
Oh, my gosh.
Wait, Liberty is dead last.
They are dead last in offensive rebounding. They do not crash the boards at all
my
offensively.
goodness.
Absolutely crazy. But in this game,
Wait, is that because they have no height or coaching? Or
I think it's just, they chuck it from three and they just do not crash the board at all. So that's something to watch because that can be, again, a big red flag for a team like Liberty. But in this game, UNT transfer Grant Newell, who I was really high on last season. I was high on that whole UNT team. They didn't make the tourney. They were great. But now he has a chance at Western Kentucky. And I was extremely excited about this team going into the season. I'm at the beginning of the season. They played Vandy close. They barely lost to South Florida. They beat Wichita State, and then they lost to Tulsa by 1. conference play came, the wheels kind of fell off. But they lost, I think, like 4 in a row at one point, and they'd lost 3 in a row right for that. But hopefully this is kind of like a get back for them.
The wheels are back on.
And they're back on, and we'll see what happens as the season goes on. But they held Liberty, who shot almost 40% from 3 to 6 of 21, which is 29% in this game.
Quick math.
And then, yep, I got it. But then next game, Western Kentucky, they go and they face New Mexico State on the road, which silently been a really dangerous team. I mean, I picked this New Mexico State team in one of our pick'ems earlier when they were at home. I think that's a dangerous game for Western Kentucky. And they beat Western Kentucky by 16 earlier in the season. And Liberty now goes on the road to face Kennesaw State. And that will not be a problem. Just like VCU and Fordham, I am not worried about Liberty bouncing back after this game. But yeah, huge win for Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky's got like that Kool-Aid mascot, right? That big red.
The Hilltopper?
Yes, the Hilltopper.
We got to get a
Yes,
picture of him
the
up there at
massive
some
guy.
point.
Yeah.
That guy is crazy. Wow.
2 crazy games.
Dude, I mean, the mid-major is always crazy, though.
It's always fun.
It's always literally insane. That's where the best stories come from, and you're going to cover that a little bit later on in your accolade section.
100%.
David.
We'll get to it for sure.
Yes, but before we do that, I mean, we gotta deep dive into some games. What do you got for us?
Unfortunately, I don't have any mid-major games for you.
That's okay. You have some other ones.
Yeah, so we're going to start with what was being called a Final Four preview, and I think I heard that about 30 times on the broadcast, but that's okay.
As you should.
As I should. So we're going to go with Arizona and Houston, okay? Arizona got the win 73-66, and with the win, they improved to 25-2 and now 12-2 in the Big 12, and Houston fell to 23-4, 11-3 in the Big 12, and now Houston has lost 2 in a row in the Big 12 for the first time since their first year in the conference in 2024, which is crazy. They lost to TCU that year. They didn't lose to TCU this year. So, but this game, like I said, was hyped up. However, there was only 2 lead changes the entire game, but no lead was bigger than 10. So it was close throughout the entire game, and Arizona had both those double-digit leads. However, in the second half, Houston did come back and take the lead, but their biggest lead was only 2 points. And I'll tell you how they kind of fell apart in a little bit, but we got to talk about Arizona first. Arizona, I got to shout out Anthony Delorso. He's been there a long time, and Koa Pete went down last Saturday, and his 2 best games of the year were midweek against BYU and yesterday against the Cougars. He had 22 points in both those games. And on his those are both his season highs. So he has stepped up when they have needed it most, and he is a perimeter threat. I mean, on most teams, he wouldn't be a perimeter threat, but for this Arizona team, he is definitely a perimeter threat. And so it's really good to see him step up in the absence of Koa Pete, which I thought would make a huge issue in this game.
Yeah.
It did not.
No, yeah.
Which
I mean,
was
we
good.
all 3 picked Houston.
We all picked Houston. Houston's definitely got size, definitely got depth, but Arizona just walked in there and clearly showed that they're at the top of the class of the Big 12, which is hard to do. And so I will say now, going on to the Cougs, they have lost 2 in a row and have a tough game that I'll preview in a little bit, but I'm not hitting the panic button. This is the Cougars. I still think they're the best team in the Big 12. I still think their scoring shows up. They were led by Flemings, who had 17. However, it was not enough. And this is a stat I wanted to get to earlier. They took their first lead 50-48 at the 12-11 mark in the second half. They did not make a shot until their next shot was made at the 2:28 mark, nearly 10 minutes without a made field goal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Which is just insane. And I get like this team is better offensively than most Houston teams, but that's the type of lulls you just don't want to see.
That's insane.
And so that kind of did them in, and Arizona had the win. And shout out to their defense. Shout out to their Bradley. He really shut down the guard play. Mo Krivas, he held the paint down. And so shout out to Tommy Lloyd and the boys. Their next game is Tuesday at Baylor, so they stay in the great state of Texas. And
they'll be fine.
They'll be all right. And Houston next game is Monday at Kansas. So big Monday. Bill Self is 39-0 at home, and so we'll see if they makes it 40-0, which would.
Didn't they lose to Cincinnati?
They lost to Cincinnati, and so I believe if they beat Houston on this big Monday thing, I think this big Monday thing might need some investigation at this point.
I agree.
But I mean, that crowd is amazing, and so we'll see if it gets it done.
But it does worry me. Sometimes I feel like with this Houston offense, it's just Flemings gets the ball and then nothing else happens.
That is fair, and it
does make me worry.
It should not be the case because they do have Emmanuel Sharp and they have more offense on this team than typical previous Cougars teams.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I think they need to take advantage of it. And Flemings had foul trouble in the first half, and so that really did them in a little bit. And so he didn't do most of his scoring until the second half. And so they have to have Sharp, Uzan, Sinek, more other people take over offensively, especially. And so Yeah, it can't just all be Fleming's. Like
I would
you
be
said.
perfectly fine with having Uzan and Sharp take over, bro. They're
Yeah,
They're
incredible
good. They
players.
need to step up 100%. They have it from the perimeter. They can get downhill and get to the rim. They can get to the free throw line. And so I think they need to step up a little bit. Fleming's has been amazing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they've done it in the past. We just need to see it in March.
100%.
You're right, though. Just not hitting the panic button.
not at all.
There's
No,
no need to.
I've said this since podcast 1. Houston is my favorite team in the Big 12. I'm
They're
standing
amazing.
on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so that's your first game.
Yeah.
You got one more for us.
This game
Which
was
one?
great. I'm going with Illinois at UCLA, and UCLA won this game in overtime, 95-94. And with the win, they improved to 18-9 overall,
Okay.
10-6 in the Big Ten. And Illinois fell to 22-6, 13-4 in the Big Ten. And guys, this might have been the most insane week for a program ever UCLA had.
Dude,
This
their
week,
coach.
yes, their coach. That's my next point. Coach Cronin and the Michigan State guy ejected his own player when it was not a flagrant 2, sent him to the locker room with 5 minutes left, down 30. The game was like laughable at this point. Then to make things worse, a student presser in the tunnel asks him a question about the Michigan State student section, chanting "F you" to his team, "F you" to that player. It's a pretty reasonable question.
Yeah.
Are you raising your voice?
No.
Are you
Dude,
raising
oh my
your
God.
voice?
No way.
Yeah, and
You-
so
dude.
yeah, so I'm sure we'll put a clip in that in there.
Kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You
the,
should take it.
the preparation of the?
Do you really think I care about the other
No, I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the other.
Are you
team.
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just
Yeah, you are.
talking.
Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
Not raising.
Come on. Yes, you were. Everybody's standing here listening to you.
But that
That's
was just
absurd.
absurd. And Thursday he had to
Grown
apologize.
man, by the way.
He
Grown
had to
man.
apologize Thursday in his media press conference before the game because it was seen that the athletic director joined their practice before. So I wonder why he apologized. So there you go. I'm going to give you it one guess. But now back to the basketball game. UCLA looked dead in this game. And to be honest with you, I felt like the Mick Cronin era kind of could have ended, honestly, very quickly after this game. They were down 33-10, and they had just given up a 20-0 run. And to make things worse, they called 2 timeouts in 90 seconds, and they still didn't stop the run. So I don't know. I don't know what you're
That's
saying
tough.
in those timeouts, but you kind of put yourself on rock bottom at some point, and that's what it really looked like in Poly. It looked like rock bottom. There was about as many Illinois fans there as there was UCLA.
That
and
sounds about right. I mean,
it was gross, but UCLA hung in there. They chipped it to 9 at halftime. But it was a back and forth. There was actually 13 lead changes in the second half and overtime combined, and 7 of those were in overtime. So this game ended up being a thriller. It looked dead at first. And the end of overtime was amazing. Illinois was down 1. Keaton Wagler hit a jumper, no surprise, to put them up with 4.2 on the clock. And that's when Mick Cronin called a timeout, which shockingly he had some left after pulling so many in the first half, which is like, I don't know how that happened, but he drew up a play for Donovan Dent basically to get the ball and run as fast as you can down the sideline. Big man Tyler Bilodeau set a great screen, got past him, got to his right hand, acrobatic finish, roll tape. We'll put a clip in there, but that was his moment. Donovan Dent really needed that at UCLA and kind of kept the boys afloat. They were led by Eric Daly and they have incredible offense. There's no defense being played by UCLA at all, ever. But
apparently.
6 guys in double figures. The 23-point comeback, guys, this is nuts. The 23-point comeback was the largest for a team against a top 10 team since the AP poll was created in 1949.
holy crap.
So, yeah,
That's
I didn't
absurd.
realize that.
this 23-point comeback was the largest stat ever, and so I got to give a shout-out to them. But this is a heartbreaker for Illinois, who came out and had his own press conference moment this week when he said, quote, the California trip was not that hard, pretty much mocking the other Big Ten coaches just to blow a 33-10 lead and lose in overtime. And so I still love Illinois. They got better days ahead of them. And so UCLA's next game is Tuesday at home against Southern Cal, big rivalry game, and they get to stay on the West Coast, which is great. And Illinois' next game, guys, Friday, home, Michigan.
Oh,
Enough said.
Good luck.
So, yeah,
Yikes.
it's just life in the Big Ten, life in the Big 12. We've been saying it all year. I'm still high on this Illinois team. They haven't really fallen very far in the net. They're literally still number 4. So Yeah.
No, I mean, their offense is so good, like we said again and again, but that defense, it's just, I mean, you're giving up, 95 to UCLA in overtime, but still.
I mean, they had 6 guys in double
tough.
figures for UCLA. And,
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's in a 40-minute game or a 45-minute game. That's still bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm sure all the UCLA student reporters were relieved that they won in overtime.
Yeah.
So they could ask their questions without
That's true.
fear of being
Cronin.
mocked by Cronin. That was ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
You are a grown man.
Come on, bro.
Grow up. It's a student reporter.
You're
dog.
getting to coach at, like, the job, arguably, in college basketball.
Yeah, like
100%.
Like,
the blue blood.
Yeah.
Like one of the blue bloods.
you get to coach at UCLA and wake up in Westwood and have probably a pretty nice house, and your main job is like recruiting basketball players to play at
what are you
UCLA.
doing?
Like, come on, bro. Sign me up. Hey, if
I'll take
Coach
that
Cronin's
job.
fired, deep dive
We'll take
David
the
will do it. All 3 of us on the bench.
You know, I would take a nice severance check from UCLA after
Yeah.
I lose a ton of games there.
Yeah, literally.
But oh well.
All right, well, Adam,
I'm sure they're relieved.
Adam, the ACC was great this weekend too.
They were. It's always great, man.
yeah.
I love the ACC, obviously. But I mean, the first team we got to talk about, we have Miami at Virginia. Absolute barn burner in this one. Virginia wins 86-83. And with that win, you know, Virginia, guys, they're 24-3 on the year. They deserve to be in the top 10. And
Yes.
they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, this was Tony Bennett's court honoring game,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny because I think they scored 86 points, and I don't think they ever did that with Tony Bennett as their coach. So I'm sure that it was very interesting for him to see 83 points get put up against Virginia as well.
With a win.
With a
That's
win,
real
literally.
basketball.
Yes. No, but in all seriousness, like this UVA team, they should at least be a 3 seed in March. They are
Yes.
so good. But we'll get to that later, obviously. But I mean, this game at 12 lead changes. Miami really showed that they belong. I mean, this is at Virginia after all. And I mean, guys, at half, you know, Virginia just stormed out of the gates and they just retook the lead and honestly never looked back. Like, I mean, this game was super even, but UVA was +9 from the 3-point line, and that's what won them the game straight up. I mean, if you can do that in such a close game, fair enough. But I mean, they had 5 people in double figures. Jakari White had like his best game of the year.
Yes.
I think he's a transfer from North Dakota State.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was a big get in the portal.
He was.
He averaged like 17 at North Dakota State.
Shout out Jakari White. He had his best game. He was fantastic. 17 points, 5 assists, 5 threes.
Yeah.
I mean, like that +9 point differential, like I mentioned.
huge.
That's him.
Yeah.
So great, fantastic game
Yeah.
from Jakari White. So, but I mean, you know, Miami, they Trey Donaldson, Shelton Anderson, you know, they each had 18 points. This is a fantastic Miami team. The fact that they're like people were thinking that they were on the bubble is ridiculous. This is a great team. Look out for them in March. But, you know, Malik Reneau made a beautiful layup to tie the game at 83, and then Jakari White just took over.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can do about that.
Yeah,
But,
Trey Donaldson fouled a Virginia guy with 3 seconds left in the act of
yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
So that's brutal.
That was bad. But Virginia's next home game is against NC State, so that should be an interesting matchup. And Miami goes on the road and plays FSU this week.
Adam's favorite team in the world.
My favorite team, and they proved
Florida
me right
State.
this week. They proved me right. I've been saying they were underrated, and I was getting flamed for
Yeah,
it.
you were. There was one of your TikTok posts that someone said, like, Florida State's not good.
Yeah,
But
well,
hey.
maybe Clemson's not good because they beat
Yeah.
them. So, but Florida State, we'll talk about them later. They are super underrated.
Yeah, and Florida State owns that series. They're 14-1 in their last 15 against Miami, so
Yeah.
we'll see if that continues.
Should be very interesting. But this is a different Miami team.
It is.
Than previous years. So,
But Miami, even when they made the Final Four 3 years ago, so
They still
didn't beat Florida State. So
you know, maybe they can cure that curse. You know, you never know. But
sure.
Boston College sure didn't cure their curse. They the SMU Mustangs
go.
blew out Boston College
Yeah, we are.
this game. Thank the Lord.
Pony up.
Yes, absolutely. SMU wins 94-70. And guys, they were saying this on the radio while I was listening to this game. Boston College only lost by 17 to Duke. And basically,
only 17.
No, honestly though, like SMU
yeah.
is SMU better than Duke? No,
Oh gosh.
No, absolutely not.
no, I'm kidding.
Keep going.
But I mean, this game, it was kind of close in the first half. I was
was.
getting a little bit concerned. But SMU, I mean, we came out super slow as we seem to do all the time.
Yep.
And at one point, both teams were 33% from the foul line.
Yeah.
SMU was 2 for 6. I think Samet Yugutoglu was 1 for 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
For that 2 for 6 stretch. So, it was pretty bad basketball being played in Dallas. But luckily, SMU really stepped it up in the second half. I don't know what Andy Enfield said, but I mean, they came out storming.
Yep.
And they were led by freshman Jermaine O'Neal, who poured in 16 points, and freshman Jaden Toombs, who had 13.
Yep.
And obviously, you still got contributions from Boobie Miller, BJ Edwards, Jerron Pierre. I mean, this SMU team is so incredibly deep.
Yep.
And if we get contributions from those freshmen like Jermaine O'Neal and Jaden Toombs, who are really gaining confidence, then it should be incredibly interesting to see.
For sure.
Maybe, hopefully, we can win our first March game since 1984. So,
Hey, not as bad as Nebraska.
not as bad
Never
as
won
Nebraska.
a game.
That's insane.
Absolutely. But, Boston College, guys, it's just been a rough season for them. And I think they just came out and said that they're not firing their coach.
Well,
Okay, well.
So it's going to be another bad year for Boston College next year. Maybe they can get
buyout's
somebody.
probably too high.
Probably for Boston
Yeah.
College at least.
Yeah.
But SMU, now we start our California trip.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting. We have a road game at Cal on Wednesday, and Boston College returns home to face Wake Forest. And this is a Wake Forest team that is so inconsistent. I don't even know who's going to win that game, but Boston College is not good.
No.
So
No.
they are not good at basketball.
That will not be on our pick'ems.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
don't worry.
Yeah. Luckily, that game will not be the game of the weekend, and
No.
we need to talk about the game of the week because oh my God. There's a reason why you didn't cover this in your recaps.
Yeah, don't
David,
worry.
Duke, Michigan.
Guys, I know y'all were probably getting a little nervous if this is the first time watching the podcast here in a game recap without Duke, Michigan, but have no fear. It is here.
It is here.
It is here. We got it, guys. Guys, this was the game that everyone had been circled since they announced it. Honestly, after Michigan, what they did in Thanksgiving week, we all circled this game.
Yes.
Like,
we did.
that is when we were like, these could be the best two teams. And honestly, this game was for the number 1 overall seed. It could very well determine who is the number 1 seed come Selection Sunday. With the win, Duke improved to 25-2, and Michigan fell to 25-2. Neither improved or worsened their conference record because this was a non-con game technically, even though it was in February, which is crazy. But honestly, it was kind of cool, kind of refreshing.
I like
I
it.
kind of like it.
They should
And
do
I
that
mean,
more often.
Duke
I
definitely
agree.
did it because the ACC was terrible last year.
Definitely.
But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, this is a game that it had everything. Fast forward to the under 4. Michigan cut the game to 1, and it had been back and forth, 13 lead changes in the game. And Duke called timeout because Yaxel Lindeborg hit a 3 to cut it to 57-56. Basically, it was served as the under 4 timeout. And John Shire put on a masterclass after that. Every possession they had from the under 4, they either made a shot or made free throws. They did not have an empty possession from the under 4
impressive.
on the entire game,
Good
which
job.
won
That's
them
how
the
you
game.
win a game.
That's how you win a game. And shout out Cam Boozer. Okay, he is going to be Naismith Player of the Year. All 3 of the people on the 3 ball agree with that. He had 18, 10, and 7 on 60% from the field against a great Michigan front court. And he's done this now against Michigan and Florida, who are arguably the 2 best front courts of the year. Just improving his stock in this upcoming draft, which I don't think he really needs to improve that much.
He doesn't need to.
Top
He's
three-
flying
top
up.
3 lock.
Oh, 100%. And so the Duke played really well. And the thing that surprised me the most about this Duke team, they out-rebounded Michigan by 13, which was like,
That's
I did not.
insane.
And
Nobody does that.
shout out to Nicholas Hamenya, which I'm sure ACC Adam has been studying his film all year.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He came in, he averaged 2.9 rebounds on the bench. How many do you think he grabbed yesterday?
Dude, 7.
He grabbed 9.
Jeez.
Against Michigan, which is insane. And so, like, that was his career high in rebounding, and to do that against Michigan is
that's
like
insane.
awesome. And so that's how you get playing time as a freshman.
Yeah, very
100%. If you're not starting, but you can grab rebounds, and I mean, yes, Adai Mara was in foul trouble. I'll hear about that. But they have Perez Johnson and Yaxel Lindeborg and Roddy Gale. They have size. Okay, he grabbed 9 rebounds against that front. Okay. neither of the teams shot the ball well. Both teams only hit 6 threes. Kind of the calling card of how they've been all year, to be honest with you. They're more of a get to the hole, get downhill, set plays type teams, which it just shows that like either of these teams can win in so many different ways, because there have been games, especially with Michigan, that they have just been on fire from 3.
Yeah.
And so, but going to Michigan now, they were led by Axel Lundblade as usual. He had 21 and 7. However, his backcourt took a complete hit a construction site pretty much. They were 1 for 11 from the field.
They pooped their pants.
Elliot Cadeau and Amari Burnett, and I have been hyping up Elliot Cadeau all year.
You have been. You have mentioned him much.
He gets back to the ACC, gets scared of Duke just like he was at Carolina.
He was terrified of them last
1
year.
for 8 from the field. And Amari Burnett went over. And shout out Dame Sarr, because they did exactly kind of what Michigan did when they played TCU. And I know it's quite a pull, but it was at that game, so it helps out a little bit. Michigan put Lindenborg guarding Brock Harding, which was TCU's point guard, and completely took him out of the game. Duke did the exact same thing. They put Dame Sarr, who is 6'10", elite wingspan, on Elliot Cadeau at the point and completely neutralized him. So shout out Coach Shire for that adjustment. That was just awesome. And so, yeah. However, this is not bad for either team.
No,
like I said.
not at all.
And Adai
It's
Mara,
good for America.
it's
Yeah.
great for
Duke.
It's great for
Great
Duke.
for Duke.
Great for Duke and great for the ACC. And I really want to see how the selection committee reacts to this, not just for Duke, but as a whole of the ACC. Because Duke has played close games in the ACC. It's not like last year where they're just blowing everybody out. And so I want to see if the selection committee gives the ACC its respect, like they should. And Yaxel Lindenborg gave Duke their respect. He said, quote, in the press conference, this was the best defense they had faced all year, incomparable to any Big Ten defense, which I thought was fascinating to hear.
Kind of makes sense, though.
And so,
Michigan State.
Michigan, they faced Michigan State, Wisconsin, like Purdue.
Nebraska.
And so they face size. And so, yeah, but that was cool to hear. I mean, they were held to 63 points. Not many teams can hold Michigan to that. And so, Michigan, their next opponent is against Minnesota at home. Should be a get-back game. It's not at Minnesota, so there will be no court storming like usual at Minnesota. They might have even court stormed for a loss on that one. We covered,
like Clemson.
And then Duke's next game is a road game at Notre Dame. And so
also not a get-back game, but an easy one.
Yeah, that should be right. It'll be interesting because it's a lot of travel, but I think Duke will be fine. Both these teams will be fine. And so I just hope my one takeaway from this game is schedule these type of games more before March.
So much fun.
So I think it was really cool that both these teams agreed to do it. And I think it showed a lot about Michigan. I'm still in on them, but it really showed a lot about Duke.
Yes.
And it'll be really interesting to see like how the odds change for who's going to win the tournament after this game.
No, I mean, I feel like it didn't reveal much about Michigan. We've known their backcourt is gonna be that's their biggest weakness. We know that. But I mean, I do feel like Duke, we really got to see a lot of what they can do. And I mean, with Boozer playing the way he did against that Michigan front court is just insanely impressive. But
that three he hit late in the game,
clutch,
dagger,
crazy.
And I love how like he had 10 shots and only 2 threes. He was going right at the base.
He was.
He was going
not scared.
No, right in the post. So he's just not flashy at all. So he doesn't get the praise that like everyone does. Yeah, he's not flashy. He's got Tim Duncan written all over him. I've said that. His game is just like it. He
ACC legend.
He's got Tim Duncan written all over him with a better jump shot at this point in his career.
That is high praise coming from Duke.
Absolutely.
I mean, guys. I mean, Michigan's still number 1 in the net. I mean, Duke's right behind him at number 2. Like it's. I mean, this was the battle for the number 1 overall seed, and I think they should give it to Duke. I mean, they've proved it. Straight up.
I mean, yes, we still have 4 weeks left to our bracket, so we'll see. But you never know. But
it's just one game.
Yes, but if the season ended today, I do think head-to-head should matter in this game.
All right, they have to play UNC again, so we'll see.
Yeah, and Michigan's got to play, like we said, they go to Illinois on Friday. Ooh. So
should be a ton of fun. But
Duke also has to play Virginia this week.
Ooh,
that'll be a good one.
That is a great.
It's a big one for you, Adam.
Yeah,
it's at Duke, so have fun. Have fun with that.
Okay.
You get a week to think about it. It's on Saturday.
I hope that my first hot take doesn't come back to bite me.
That's
that
okay.
Virginia would go further in the tournament than Duke.
Yeah, he's gonna pull a Virginia Tech is gonna beat Clemson and then not pick them and then it's gonna.
Dude, no. Yeah, my hot takes are not going well so far.
That's okay,
unfortunately. But we're gonna zoom out a little bit, from all the national spotlight, and we're gonna cover a little bit more of the mid majors. Welcome back to the 3 Ball, where we talk all about basketball all year round. And Today, we are super excited to have Tyler Lundblade, a 6'5" senior guard for Belmont from Dallas, Texas, on the podcast. Tyler recently had 31 points and 7 threes in a game against Northern Iowa, where he led the Bruins to a win. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, Tyler. We really, really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're just going to get into a couple of questions. Obviously, David, you know Tyler the best, so I'm going to kind of get you going on this. So
For
let's
sure.
just
So I knew Tyler from a little bit about his time at Grapevine Faith, where he went to high school for 3 years before doing a senior year. Where'd you do your senior year? Prep school?
Yeah, Greensboro Day School in North Carolina.
Okay, so Tyler and I didn't go to Grapevine Faith. I went to another school next to it, and we had mutual friends a little bit. But we really met at SMU in our 1 year there and got to spend time together. Just shows that how old we are now that no one even knows who Kendrick Davis or anybody on that team anymore. I have to remind
Yeah.
them. But it's so cool. It was such a fun year too, because I was going back thinking about that year at SMU. We had the court storm against Houston. We were on the bubble the whole year. And so it was really interesting. I would love to hear like what you learned about from that SMU team, and even if you want to talk about a little bit of your time of TCU, because you're on the bubble and that year and didn't make it in, and then last year you lost to Drake, and so this year could be y'all's year in March. So I would love to hear what you learned from those two experiences and how you've translated that into this year at Belmont.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me my freshman year was being able to sit back and kind of observe. I was kind of fighting for rotation minutes, but we had Michael and Marcus Weathers, we had Kendrick, we had Emmanuel Bandamel. Like we just had a bunch of old guys that I knew were going to play a ton of minutes. And so, right before the season, I was like, Coach, I just want a red shirt. And they were on board. And so I was super grateful for that. And, I think Kendrick really took me under his wing that year. I learned a ton from him and, seeing how he prepared and he was always in the gym extra and, um, watching those guys play every day was super fun. And then you get, the roller coaster of that year of, gosh, we're down at home, like our sixth game in the year at ULM, and I'm sitting next to Iki on the bench, like, yo, if we lose, he's like, yo, if we lose this game, you might not see me in no week. And come back and win that one, and then we go on a crazy streak. We don't lose at Moody the entire year. We were 3-1 in the round robin with Houston and Memphis in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you kind of get that mid-major life of, we know we're good enough, but we haven't really played any high major schools. And then you lose on Saturday and not Sunday in your conference tournament, and then you're just sitting on the bubble. And, unfortunately for us that year, there were just like a million bid steals. I mean, there were,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that was you have like North Carolina State and Oregon winning, and we just got a bad hand. But that year was awesome, and then like in my time at TCU, I was rubbing shoulders and practicing against NBA guys every single day, like Emmanuel Miller, sorry, was a two-way. Micah Peavy got drafted. Mike Miles was all league. Um, I'm sure I'm forgetting guys, but you're playing against those kind of guys every single day. Like you have no choice but to get better. And I think, even though I didn't have, maybe the chance to play on the court, um, all that preparation kind of came to fruition when I found my way to Belmont and I finally got that opportunity to play. And so now this year with this, I think we're 23-4, like first in the Valley right now. It's been a really good year, and I think kind of all that has led to this season. And so, taking all those things I've learned from then and we want to fight to get in that large bid, but we also know that it's probably not likely in the Valley. So you got to win 3 games in one weekend in March, and so I think that's kind of the whole preparation of the whole year.
That's crazy. So how does preparation look like on a day-to-day basis? Earning, of course, you want to win your conference in the regular season, but making sure you're right for that 1 week in the conference tournament come March.
Yeah, I think every we just obviously you want to win every game every night, and you want to be at your best every night. But we also know like, hey, every regular season game is a learning opportunity. Like we did not want to lose by one in overtime at Indiana State or lose to SIU at home or Richmond. But ultimately those games don't define your season.
Mhm.
And so you want to, face every situation, every possible late game scenario, every, you know, every situation you could possibly be in, you want to try to face those throughout the season and prepare yourself for March Madness and Arch Madness. So I think we've done a good job of that. We haven't lost 2 games in a row this year, even though our losses have been kind of few and far between. But that's been our mantra, is like we don't lose 2 in a row. And so being able to kind of bounce back from setbacks, and we've won a ton of tight games, and that's what you got to do in March. So I think we're pretty well prepared.
That's so cool. And Belmont's definitely a basketball school. I think that's the coolest transition from SMU to TCU probably to Belmont. Is that Belmont, I'm assuming from your perspective, you agree that the Belmont is definitely basketball is the biggest sport, whereas
Yeah.
SMU or TCU, it's the other way around. And so I bet it's really cool having the school buy in to your sport as number one.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of funny. Like I was, when I got to TCU, we made the college football playoff run, and then, you know, I guess it was 2 years ago, SMU made their playoff run. So it's pretty nice being at a basketball school where like we don't even have a football team. Uh, so
Yeah, literally.
your weekends in the fall are a little bit more free. Getting to watch every other college football game from your apartment. But yeah, it's cool to have that backing and support from the university.
That's sick. And so I've heard a lot about your school and your team from Mid-Major Michael, so I'm going to leave it up to him now and have him answer the questions. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like David said, I'm a big fan of y'all's team this year, so it's been a lot of fun to watch. But one thing I've been hearing a lot about, just kind of outside noise, is the strength of the non-conference schedule with a lot of mid majors, but with Belmont specifically. So I guess my question is from like a team perspective and a player perspective, how do you respond to that narrative, and or is it just like totally outside noise that you don't even think about as a team at all?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And the first thing that, we always talk about is like we can't get high major games. We can't get these games on the schedule because no high major wants to play us. I mean,
Mhm.
nobody wants to. First of all, nobody's going to schedule a home and home with us. Like nobody's going to come to our place, and then nobody's going to pay us to come play them and potentially beat them on their floor. So, and also we're not going to get invited to some of these big MTEs in Thanksgiving and stuff, where you're going to have a chance to go play some of those good teams. And so, that's unfortunately, that's the dilemma with the men's side. Like you look at the women's side of college basketball, and our girls team, they hosted Duke this year. They played Ohio State. They played Tennessee. I mean, they play an insane schedule, and they get home and homes.
Mhm.
But it's just, unfortunately, that's not the nature of the men's side. And so I think that's, it sucks for us, but it's also a compliment to us that we
Mhm.
can't get those games.
Mhm.
And so I think when you're trying to build your resume, especially in Ken Palm and the net, it kind of makes the rest of your games all that more important because, okay, if you lose one, it's not a quad one loss. It's probably a quad two or quad three. But it's funny that you ask about that because I think we put out something on social media the other day that was like, our winning percentage in quad one and quad two is like top 10 in the country. And so when we've played those teams, we've played well.
Mhm.
Uh, we just, those shots are kind of few and far between for us, which is, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. And you mentioned Ken Palm in the net. Is that something that like you personally look at a lot or think about it a lot, or is it just kind of ancillary?
I mean, I check it all the time. Like after
It's
every
That's,
game,
one of us.
That's
one of us.
amazing.
I
I
mean,
love
I'm
that.
in the net, almost every day.
Mhm.
We use Ken Palm all the time in scouting and
Nice.
stuff.
Mhm.
That's so
Really
cool.
kind of getting a feel of like teams we're going to play, and it's also a great data point for us to see. Okay, this is how our defense was non-conference. Now this is how it is in conference. All those analytics are super helpful, and we're a very analytical program.
Mhm.
So I mean, we use Ken Palm all the time, and ultimately the net is what's going to help you in March. So whether it's last year, like we weren't high enough in the net to get an NIT bid because we just didn't have as good of a season. But now I think we're like we're inside the top 60 in the net, and I think we're up there in Ken Palm too. So, we use that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is super super sick. And kind of like zooming out like from Belmont, just kind of as your like career as a whole, I would love to hear like what like some of the atmospheres that you've played in, especially like what's the craziest game like in conference you've played? It could be at SMU, it could be TCU, it could be Belmont even. And like why that conference, why that crowd was so like important to like change your mentality and like going on the road and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess I'll give you two answers because I mean, I've been in some crazy environments, but in the first 3 years of my career, but I wasn't playing in those
Yeah.
games. Uh, and then, in the Valley, we've had some good crowds. So I would definitely say at Bradley last year was probably one of the most fun games. Like we had some coaches that were sick, we had guys that were sick, and that was kind of like my coming out party. They were one of the top teams in the league, and I played all 40 minutes, hit 8 threes. Like it was kind of a breakout game at their place, and I love that arena is really good. And they had a huge crowd that night. Um, in terms of the first 3 years of my career, I mean, it's hard to top winning at Kansas.
Oh yeah.
13-2. I mean, they were like number 2 in the country, and we won by 20. So
Jeez.
that environment was pretty crazy, but honestly, it was like kind of quiet the whole game because we were just up.
You're just winning.
Uh, but like when you're in Fog Allen, like the visitor locker room is underneath the student section. So like when you're in there, so they're stomping on the stands and like above you, it's just like the whole like everything is shaking. I mean, their students were
Jeez.
incredible. And my year at SMU, are obviously the home win against Houston was awesome. Playing at Memphis was pretty cool. Because like you're in the FedEx Forum is a huge NBA arena, and they were good that year too. Um, so I mean, those stick out. And then like playing, I think honestly the Missouri Valley does a really good job with their conference tournament, like in terms of like the arena, how everything's set up, the shoot around times, like everything is just very well organized and run very well, and it's a pretty big event. And so I mean that was pretty sweet last year, especially playing Drake on CBS. That was awesome. So I mean I could go on, but those are kind of the ones that stick out.
Yeah, and how does like traveling into those environments kind of like affect your shooting? Like it could be like traveling into FedEx Forum, like the fact that you're in an NBA arena, is it a different feeling and does it affect your shooting at all? Or do you just feel like you have the same stroke like in any arena that you go into, any environment?
Yeah, every arena is different. Your depth perception is different. It depends on the lighting, how far the seats are behind the goal. Is there a wall there? You know, like most arenas, like most of the lights on the court, but some arenas, like there's literally zero light on the stand, so it just seems like a black backdrop. So, I mean, your depth perception is going to be different in every gym, but I think once you have a shoot around in the morning and then you have your 65 70 minute warm up before the game, like once the ball is tipped, all that's kind of out the window and you're just playing. Like I'm not really thinking about it. So it's kind of funny when I pull up my splits from home and away from my 2 years at Belmont, like I'm notably better on the road, which I
Oh,
find
nice.
interesting.
Interesting.
Why do you
But
think that is?
I have no idea. I maybe play more. Well, probably part of it is like the majority of our road games come later in the year.
Mm.
So by that time you're kind of in, peak form, and
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with it, or it could just be completely random. But yeah, I find that kind of interesting.
Most of your non-con was probably at home then, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically, I mean, this year we played at Charleston. We played at Middle Tennessee. So we had like probably maybe one or two road games, but then everything else is home or it's a 2-game MTE.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. So zooming back into you, when people look at your, performance profile on paper, I mean, this year, 40% from three, 93% at the line, which is crazy impressive. But they probably see you as just a shooter, right? But what are some parts of your game that don't show up in the box score?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, the way I'm guarded this year is just, I mean, I don't want to sound like cocky, but like I get the Steph Curry treatment. Like I'm face guarded, I'm held all game. I mean, some teams when we played SIU, they just chose to play 4-on-4 the whole game. And so
They
I
ran
think
a box and one, pretty much.
almost, I mean, they weren't zoned up, but like, I mean, if the ball's on the other side of the floor, my defender is squared looking at me in the chest, like he's not helping on any drives. So I think that just that kind of gravity and my effect as a cutter, and if I come off a pin down and I curl it, there's a lot of times where both guys come with me,
Mhm.
and guys pop for shots or um, and I think some of the stuff, I mean, that does show up in box scores is obviously like my 2-man game with our bigs. If I come off one handoff, we flip it and the big comes back up. I've gotten pretty good at throwing the pocket pass this year and finding other guys outside on the perimeter. And I think, maybe another aspect would be that I've become a really good screener. I think as a shooter, you should be a really good screener because if you can screen well, like you're going to get easy buckets for your team, but also it's going to help you get open. Um, and so I think there's just, yeah, my movement, I just think it causes chaos for defense, or chaos for defenses. Like it's just, you can't prepare for somebody that's going to move like me for 38 minutes of a game. And so
Mhm.
I think, all that kind of encompasses to help our offense and, generate some easy shots for other guys if I touch the ball or not.
That's sick.
Absolutely.
No, I know like they were asking about your other parts of your game, but shooting's the best part of basketball in my opinion. So
Yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
gonna talk about like when you're in a zone, like right when you're against Northern Iowa and you hit like 2 or 3 in a row, right? And you've got the hot hand, like what does that feel like? And then obviously you already talked about how defenses approach you. I'm sure it gets even more ramped up when you've got it like that. When you have that just your shot going like that, does your mindset change like heat check or like I'm sure you get wide open teammates, but it makes it kind of at times harder to pass because you're on, right? Like how does your mentality change and what does it really feel like when you're just on like that?
Yeah, I think people ask that all the time, and honestly, like when you're on, I don't think I feel like I'm not feeling anything. You're just unconscious at that point. I would say like mentally, it's just if the I'm just thinking if the ball touches my hands, it's going up. Like if I have any small window, it's going up. Like you don't want to start the game taking heat check kind of shots. But when you see a couple go in, I think the window of opportunity that I need gets a lot smaller. And I have the credit to our coaching staff, like I have the freedom to do that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just think it maybe, it probably helps my energy levels too. Like some games, I mean, playing 36, 37, 38 minutes a game, you have to pace yourself at times. But I think when you get into those rhythms where like shots are going in, like I'm going to do anything to go try to get my hands on the ball and put a shot up. And a lot of times it ends up working out to get other guys shots.
Yeah.
Whether it's, me setting an up screen and someone just curls to the rim because they're thinking switch and they don't go with the cutter, or I set an up screen for one of my bigs who just drives and dunks it because they're worried about me popping. But yeah, I think when you're in like the zone, it's more of just like Steph talks about it, like being in flow state, like you're just not thinking, you're just out there playing.
Hmm.
Because like as a shooter, you're human. Like if you miss, as confident as every shooter is, like if you miss a couple, it's like, all right, I need to get a good one this next shot. But if you start 2 for 2 or 3 for 3, or you've made your last three, it's like I don't, what is a good one? Like
It's going up.
any one of
It's
them.
going up.
It's going up. I'm hot.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
So the heat check is real. So like that's a real thing.
yeah, for sure, for
Oh
sure.
yeah. That's
And you
funny.
mentioned the coaching staff kind of like giving you the green light. Is that something that's a verbal, or is it more of like an understood thing?
I think it's understood. This year, it's funny. This year they've been a lot harder on me about my shot
Mm.
quality than they were last year. Because I have to take a ton of hard ones. Uh,
Mhm.
where last year I was the third guy on the scouting report. This year I'm number one.
Mhm.
And so those opportunities when I get open ones, like they want them to be perfect, on balance. Don't make them harder than they need to be. And so, yeah, I think it's funny this year they've probably been on me more about that. But it definitely is more of an unspoken thing of like, okay, and I think that's the case with anyone on our team. When guys get hot, like you make 2 or 3 in a row, like put the next one up, man. Like I think we
Mhm.
shoot almost either we do or we're almost 40% as a team. So
Wow.
when guys get hot, like put them up.
That's sick. And I know in high school, like you were talking about going from the third to the first option. Is this the first time since high school you've probably been the first option? And how does that change? I know the game is a lot different in college. But like, how does that mindset change, or even not change at all? Whereas you're probably for the first time in a couple of years the number one on the scouting report.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, but it feels great. Like that's what you dream of as a player. Like you want to be the number one option. You want to be like the marked man. I think last year, leading the country in 3-point percentage, like that was kind of a stamp of validation. And then this year it's like, okay, I am a marked man. Like my job's going to be a lot harder. And it's, it was definitely a challenge early on, figuring out, especially early in conference, like how teams are going to guard. Man, I'm facing different coverages every game, adjusting and um, but it's what you want. I mean, I don't think anybody would want it to just be like, I mean, maybe some people do, but you don't want it to be like easy, smooth sailing the whole time. Like it's going to be a challenge, and I think that's what makes it all the more rewarding.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you talked about like leading the country in 3-point percentage, and obviously that has to bring a ton of notoriety to you. And I'm sure that you had tons and tons of people calling you about transferring to their schools, but you decided to stay at Belmont for a second year. What was like the decision making behind that? Obviously, it's been a fantastic decision because you're now number one in the Valley and stuff like that. But I kind of want to know like the behind the scenes of that, like recruiting, kind of why you wanted to stay where you are? Is it just home, or do you love the coaching staff, or is it the opportunity to get film and all of these things?
Yeah, well, yeah, the three things you just mentioned, it's definitely all of the above. I think I was definitely naive last year of like kind of the attention I would garner. Like I told Casey I was going to come back probably halfway through the year. And I never really shifted my perspective on if I was or wasn't. But, the season ends and then I'm getting texts from my AAU coach that I haven't talked to in 3 years about, hey, SMU wants to pay you X amount of money to come back. Or, these schools want to pay you, hundreds of thousands of dollars to come play there. And you're just like, what? Like really? Yeah, like literally, it's like the meme of the dude pointing at himself. Like, I mean, literally, like I was 6 months ago, I was a walk on that no one knew who I was,
Yeah.
and all these schools that either I was at before, and it's another coaching staff, or these schools that recruited me in high school. They didn't want me in high school. They didn't want me when I was trying to leave TCU, and now all of a sudden, they want me. And for me, it was like, yeah, the money is cool, but like I hadn't had stability at all ever in my career.
Yeah.
Like if Jank didn't leave SMU, I would have never left. And,
No.
and
Dang
like
it.
I know, like that's the reality.
Dang
Like
it.
that's the rug got pulled out from under me, and then it got
Yeah.
pulled out from under me again at TCU, and like I knew we had a really good team, and I knew I had an opportunity to come back and play big minutes and have a really big role. And it was just like you can't put a price on the stability and playing for a staff that loves you and believes in you and wants to build around you. Like, I could have taken some of that money to go somewhere else, and I would have just been a guy. Like I wanted to be the guy. I going into my 5th year in college, like I had been a guy or not even a guy for 4 years, and now I finally got the taste of having a big role in contributing. And we had 11 guys coming back, and like we found the right pieces in the portal to help us and out of high school guys. And it's just like I don't want to, you can't put a price tag on joy and that experience. And it's like, God forbid, like I get hurt or something and, I can't play professional afterwards. Like I can look back and be like, I had a great career at Belmont. Like I loved my time there. Like I didn't sell out for money. I didn't have to do it. I love my time here. I can call this place home forever. Um, and, and I guess the other side of that is like, it would give me no more joy than to give this staff another, NBA guy, another, take this team to the tournament and have a great year. And so it was just kind of a mix of all that. Like they took such a risk on me, taking me as a walk on late. Like I showed up basically in August. Like I missed all of the team summer workouts. It definitely probably ruffled some feathers that they took me late. Guys that, worked all summer and, just kind of let this kid walk in. And so I felt like I owed it to them, but also like I love it here. Like I just didn't want to leave. It was perfect X's and O's wise. It's the perfect place for a shooter like me, a movement shooter. And it didn't make sense, man.
Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
very clearly the correct decision. So
Oh,
congratulations.
100%. No, it's really cool to hear that because like Belmont definitely has a high 3-point percentage. And you were talking about another shooter earlier, Steph Curry, who's made a quite the career living playing basketball coming from a mid-major school. And so I don't know if we could compare to Steph Curry, but like you get the point, you know? And so like you were talking about Steph earlier, and he said the exact same thing that he wanted to go to Virginia Tech or Duke, and then he wasn't recruited out of high school by them, and then they tried to call and get him out of the portal. However, he didn't want to go, even though his brother went because they didn't want me out of high. Like, if you didn't want me when I was not good enough in your eyes, why do you want me now? And so it was really cool to hear you talk
Fair.
about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. And I mean, kind of transitioning a little bit from the portal and the NIL stuff because we know that's crazy. But what's also crazy was the most recent game that y'all played. The game against Murray State. I know Michael was watching it because he was blowing our group chat about it. Because we have a pick'em segment on our podcast, and we all picked Belmont to win that game, and y'all were down at halftime, and then just absolutely exploded in the second half. Can you like talk about like what the key was to kind of turn that game around and the mentality like before it, like during halftime, and then after once you get the win? And what was it like? How many 60 points in the second half? Like it was
63.
it was
If I
insane.
remember.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
It was
crazy.
insane.
For us, it's just been our approach to games. Like when we come out, we're locked in, we're ready to go. Like we're hard to beat, man. But we've just had a lot of first halves where we're just sloppy or slow, or we let teams kind of dictate what we're doing. They made some defensive changes from the first game that kind of threw us off. But I think when we got to halftime and we're sitting there, it's like, dude, there's no way we only just scored 24 points. Like that was one of the best basketball, and we only gave up 37. So it's not like we're just getting pounded. But we're like, okay, we hung 100 on these guys the first time. Like, let's snap out of it. And I think just our approach shifted in the second half. We were back to being the aggressor, and obviously shots go in, that helps, but we stopped turning the ball over. Like we're number one. You talk about Ken Palm, we're number one in the country in effective field goal percentage, but our adjusted offensive rating is in the 40s because we struggled turning the ball over at times. But when we don't turn the ball over, like we score at a really high rate. And then we strung a ton of stops together. So I mean, I think we won the second half by like 30 or 30 something. So that the message was just like, what team do you want to be? Do you just want to get kicked in the teeth, or do you want to go out and win? And especially in a rivalry game like at Murray, I mean, there's no better feeling than beating Murray on the road. So
For sure.
Of course.
What do adjustments look like from opponents the second time around come in conference play? I'm sure your coaches talk about it all the time, especially if they're talking about Ken Palm and adjustments and stuff. I'd love to hear what does a film session or a coach's session sound like from your perspective when you're going to play a conference opponent for the second time in a year.
Yeah, I think you look a ton back at what they did the first game, but also you got to look at their recent games. Like we only played Murray like 6 games ago or something like that. I could be wrong on the number, but they made some defensive changes, and they lost a couple games. They're trying to figure stuff out, and that's every team. In the league, you lose a couple games, you try to start switching. You switch around your starters, you switch around coverages and stuff like that. So we watched a ton of stuff from our first game, but also we watched a ton of stuff from their Indiana State game that was 2 days before we played them. For me, I look at how they covered other shooters in the league recently. So yeah, I think you want to look back at your game, but also like you got to look at, and what we do is we look at a lot of their recent games that aren't against us because you may see new trends and stuff.
Got it. Is Murray, Kentucky in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
it's
can
That place
imagine.
sucks. At least Belmont's in Nashville, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Nice thing is it's only like 2.25, 2.5 hours away. So like we don't spend the night there.
Okay.
We just like we have shoot around at our place, pregame meal, and then we hop on a bus. We go there, we win, and we come back. So
That's sick.
That's awesome.
That's
All right.
sick.
We want to hear it from you now, though, Tyler. Why should the nation look at this Belmont team to be able to bust brackets and go far in March Madness?
yeah, I mean, I just think we're so unique. A lot of these teams, say we get in as a 12 seed, a lot of these 5 seeds are coming from high major conferences. You're not playing, I mean, you're playing against some great athletes, but you're not playing against a team with 6 guys that can hit 4 or 5 threes in a game. You're not playing with really skilled 4s and 5s that can skip the ball across the court. I don't think there's a lot of guys out there that are like me with my movement shooting and doing that for 38 minutes in a game. And we have one of the best X's and O's coaches in all of college basketball. I think we're dangerous, man, when we get hot. I mean, I don't remember how many threes we hit in that game, but we've probably had a couple games this year where we've hit 15 plus. And I mean, we shoot almost 40% of the team. And I think if you like beautiful basketball, you're going to like watching us play. And I just think we're dangerous, man. I don't think that there's a very much similarity between us and a lot of high major schools. So any of those 5s, or if we're lucky enough to get in as 11, any of those 6 seeds probably haven't played any teams like us. And so I think we're just a unique matchup. And especially when you get into the tournament, luckily our conference tournament's a week earlier than everybody else's. So we'll have some extra free, downtime to get healthy and rested and prepared. But you hear that selection Sunday, and then you only have 4 days to prep for a team that you haven't seen all year. So it's kind of the non-conference prep where your scout may not be as detailed as a team you're going to play twice later in conference. And I just think that's tough. Especially late in the year, like at that point teams have been together since June. Like you just can't change. You can't put really anything new in. Like you are who you are, and so when you go out on that floor, it's just style in combat sports, styles make fights, and so I think styles make unique matchups in March, and I think we're one of those teams that can certainly rattle things up.
That's so sick. No, it's definitely y'all are the team. Like I was talking about this on the last podcast, that could hit a bunch of threes and get like the neutral fans in an arena to join your side, which is so sick in March Madness when that happens, and just the whole crowd just gets behind the quote unquote underdog or the team that hits fire from threes, because threes and dunks get the crowd going.
Yeah, especially like in March. I mean, probably only. It depends what school you're playing, but maybe only a quarter of the crowd is actually fans of like one school, and then everybody else is just spectators. So you have a game like Oakland against Kentucky, and Kentucky's a 3 seed, but all of a sudden, or a 2 seed, all of a sudden the whole world is rooting for Oakland.
Yeah,
Jack Golke.
Hey, you could be the next Jack Golke. You got a little bit more overall game than he does. But
That's true.
But like that's the point is, or even like when I was growing up, I mean, you watch CJ McCollum and Lehigh beat Duke, and you're not in the arena, but like you got to think everyone in that arena becomes a Lehigh fan pretty quick.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Absolutely,
I love that.
That's
yeah. Well, we are definitely rooting for the Belmont Bruins for the rest of the season and in March, Tyler. So you got the Three Ball podcast behind you. We'll continue picking
Tyler.
Everything.
Hopefully the next time we see you, Tyler, is after you just upset a 12-5 team and we have you back on the podcast. So
wherever we go, you guys got to show up, and we'll do like a little hotel room podcast.
Bro, let's do it. Let's do it.
So down. Hey, you and SMU in the same place. We could make some magic happen.
If SMU makes please.
Well, we're falling. So
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So, but yeah, we just played in a team that at the Dome where it's not easy to shoot at all, and
that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
About our environment.
But no, that's sick. But yes, we would love to do that, Tyler. I don't know where you'll be. They're all over America. So, but we would love to theoretically do that. That'd be sick. Yeah, have a couple of your teammates on as well.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
We really appreciate your time, Tyler, and everything. So keep repping Belmont well. Shout out to the Bruins. Really appreciate you for hopping on. But so that was an exclusive interview with Belmont Tyler Lundblade, and guys, they just won the Missouri Valley Conference.
Let's go. They'll be the 1 seed in their conference tournament,
or as he calls it, the Valley.
The
Valley.
And now they're the 1 seed at Arch Madness.
Madness.
They're hoping to get to March Madness, but first they go through Arch Madness, which I love.
Explain why they call it Arch Madness.
Because it's in St. Louis.
It's in St. Louis.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
At the St. Louis Blues Arena.
Really? Yeah, that's super fun. Yeah, I mean, guys, shout out to Tyler. He was an absolute joy to talk to. He's fantastic. And I mean, it was so much fun, guys. I think we should just stick in the mid-majors.
Oh, 100%.
And
sounds good to me.
Yeah, we know. And I think that we should highlight another conference championship pick. Michael, what has been happening recently?
Yeah, so for this segment, I want to cover the Yale Bulldogs in the Ivy League.
Bulldog, go Bulldogs!
Yep. Go Bulldogs. Not that again. But Yale's a team that I feel
Lee
like...
Corso clip.
Go Bulldogs!
Yale Bulldogs.
Wow. Not so fast, midget. Not so fast.
Midget?
Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast. I go with Harvard. What's the matter?
Yale. I want Harvard. Keep going.
We can restart if we
Oh, no, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, so for this segment, I want to cover the Yale Bulldogs in the Ivy League.
Go Bulldogs!
Go Bulldogs! I'm excited to cover them because they're a team that I feel like always gets a lot of hype going into March. I mean, last year, people thought they were going to pull off the upset against A&M.
Me.
A&M pulled it out, so I was happy about that.
Yeah.
But anyways, going to this year, Yale is currently sitting at the top of the Ivy League, obviously. They're 21-4, conference record of 9-2, and they have officially punched their spot in the Ivy League conference tourney.
Yeah,
Because the Ivy League conference is kind of weird. They only allow 4 teams in their conference tournament. So they finally punched their ticket into that conference tourney.
Wow.
But Yale might be one of the most interesting mid-major cases I've studied so far. They have the 5th highest continuity rating from last year, according to KenPom, which is extremely impressive for a mid-major again. But like I was saying, they currently have the 26th ranked offense on KenPom. They're shooting 41% from 3, which is
I love
second
that.
nationally.
Oh, behind Belmont?
I think behind Belmont. I think that's right.
Shout out Tyler Lundblade.
Yep. They have a turnover rate of 14%, which is top 25 in the country. So they take care of the ball. They shoot nearly 77% from the free throw line, which we've talked about a lot.
Yep.
And they rank around 80th in offensive rebounding, which is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And usually when you see a mid-major with that kind of profile, that is going to be a fast, up-tempo kind of team. But that is not this Yale team.
Really?
They play at one of the slowest paces in all of D1.
Yeah.
But what all that means is that they're efficient, they can get nuclear from deep, and they're methodical. They don't beat themselves. They're comfortable grinding a game into a half-court offensive type of game. And stylistically, they're really balanced as far as where they get their scoring from. They get 31% from 3, 48% from 2, 20% from the free throw line. So they're not overly dependent on one form of scoring, which is good to see from a mid-major like this. But now I have to talk about the less fun part of this team, which is their defense.
Oh,
I know.
It's always something.
There's
It's always
always something
defense.
with a mid-major. There's always something. On KenPom, the gap between their offensive and defensive efficiency is ridiculous.
Okay.
They're 26th offensively, like I said, but 228th defensively. I think that's one of the widest splits I've ever seen for a team that's projected to make the tournament. I can't think of one that's bigger. But they allow nearly 45% of field goal attempts from opponents from three-point line, and teams are shooting over 35% from 3 against them.
So it's like SMU.
Yeah,
It's a lot like that.
just
So
about
they
to
just
say
concede volume, and they struggle to deal with dribble penetration and kickouts, which is hard to watch. But again, like I said, they do rebound fairly well, but their overall defensive resistance inside is just not great either. They're not disruptive. They don't force turnovers. They don't protect the rim very well. So that the team's identity is purely offense. But for their key players, they have senior Nick Townsend, who missed their last game with a concussion, but he is the engine of this team. He plays nearly 80% of the minutes on this season, and he is shooting 58.8% from the field and an absurd 50% from 3.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
goodness.
No.
He's not a volume shooter. He shot 72 attempts, but still, he's
That's enough.
36 of 72.
That's wild.
When he gets the looks, he knocks them down. And he's also 6'7". I haven't mentioned that either. So he is a big wing, and he, like Tyler Lundblade, very similar kind of player, just not as much of a volume shooter as Lundblade is.
Right.
But same thing of like high assist rate. The offense runs through him on the elbow. But alongside him, they have a lot of shooters. Isaac Selzakar, he's another 6'6", slashing mid-range threat who's shooting 61% from inside the arc, 82% from the free throw line. They have another 6'6" wing in Riley Fox that accounts for 32% of the shots taken when he's in the game.
Oh.
So when he is in the game,
Jerome
that
Pierre.
ball goes to him and the
Michael
shot
Porter
is
Jr.
going up. It's crazy to watch. And then they also have Trevor Mullen, who's actually their point guard, supposed to be at the guard position. He's shooting 42% three on 115 attempts.
Wow.
So again, this team is loaded with shooters and guys that can just destroy you. And they're spread out. They have size. But again, like I said, the weakness is clear. It's their defense.
Yeah.
When you're outside the top 200 in defensive efficiency, it's just like if you run into a team that is hot, they could plow through you. And they don't have that defense to kind of help stabilize their floor. But I would say a team they remind me of that went on a Cinderella run, I'm going to stay in the Ivy League.
Okay.
And go with the 2023 15 seed
Oh,
Princeton.
let's go.
Yeah, who beat Arizona, Missouri before losing to Creighton.
They were
in the Sweet
also
16.
in that Furman video.
Yeah,
Same day.
That's insane.
That's
Yeah.
wild. But
Yeah.
that Princeton team, again, like this team, they weren't necessarily super athletic. They weren't defensively dominant, but they were a methodical half-court offense that could just absolutely destroy you. And they had height. And they were led by a wing as well who could score, facilitate, and punish those mismatches.
Shout out Ryan Lamborg.
But against Arizona, I mean, Princeton was able to really slow that game down. And they held Arizona to 55 points in that game. And Arizona had not been held below 70 besides 3 other games, which is crazy. So it's that kind of thing of like, even though they weren't a great defensive team like the Seattle team, if you can slow the game offensively, if you can kind of get Arizona or a team that you play against to slow them down, then you can absolutely still win. Same thing happened with Missouri, and then they ran to Creighton. And the problem with that Creighton team was not only did they have a great offense, they had a great defense.
Yeah.
So if Yale faces a team like that can really punish their offense and make it hard for Yale to be able to spread the floor, be able to get to the line for free throws, and be able to get their good looks, that could be a problem for Yale. But I mean, in the Ivy League, I'm not worried about any team beating the Seattle team. I think that it's not for sure, but I'm pretty confident in saying that Yale is going to stamp their ticket to March Madness.
Let's go.
So I'm super excited about that.
Will they be like a 12, 13?
I think they're probably more of a 13, maybe 13, 14.
Okay.
That's probably what I would say.
Yeah.
Who do you think that, like, kind of just to put you on the spot here,
Yeah,
who would be like a nightmare matchup for them? And like maybe like a Nebraska or something like that shoots a ton of threes.
Alabama.
And who would be the best matchup for them?
Yeah, I think the best matchup would probably be somebody like
Michigan State.
Michigan State would not be a good matchup for them at all. Honestly, I would say Michigan State would probably be one of the worst matchups for them because that defense, like I was saying, I think that they would be able to kind of clamp down on them. I think Yale would really struggle to make like spacing in that game. That'd be really tough. As far as a good matchup, honestly, I don't know what Louisville would be, but that would be a pretty good matchup for Yale. I don't think they would be able to be a matchup for them, but that kind of team would be a pretty good matchup.
A very
for the Seattle
high
team.
volume shooting three.
High
That
vol-
maybe if they get cold, Yale can absolutely
that's
take advantage
exactly what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to be excited to watch
Would they
the Bulldogs.
run with Louisville, though? Would they try and run?
I think they could slow them down.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what I was saying with what Princeton did to
Yes,
Arizona, because that
yes.
Arizona team was super fast.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I think this Yale team could do to a team like Louisville.
Got it.
Yeah, that should be super interesting to watch. And guys, Yale, they've been in these positions before. I mean, shout out
Yeah.
Danny Wolf. bro.
Danny Wolf.
Absolute legend. Yale,
Love that guy.
Yale Bulldog. He beat the 4 seed Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, they just won the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Yale's been in this position before. They've shown that they can compete in March. So,
Absolutely.
I'm very excited to see the Bulldogs back in March, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully.
we'll see if they can make it.
When you
But,
say hopefully, they got to win their conference tournament.
yeah,
They do, but
have to
again, it's
win.
only 2 games.
Yeah.
Because only 4 teams make the conference tourney.
That's
so.
wild.
Shout out to the Ivy League for being exclusive, just like
Yep.
all their schools.
No, speaking of exclusive, they don't do athletic scholarships in the Ivy
They
League.
don't.
Actually,
You have to be technically a walk-on, so like it's really hard to recruit. So you have to find someone who can financially afford an Ivy League
Princeton
school,
or Yale.
and they have to get in pretty much because they
Wow.
don't really lower standards. So the fact that Yale's coach has done this good of a job, he's been there a long time.
Oh, yeah,
That's
he's great.
impressive.
And
He
so
has.
that makes this team even more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, so shout out to Yale, and we're gonna do some more shout outs.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're gonna do a another deep dive segment, and we're gonna
Yes.
go into our accolades right now. So we got best game, which we've already covered, but I mean, what are the other accolades?
Guys, the best game of the week the past 2 times has been just the weekend game. but I switched it up this week and went Arkansas, Alabama.
Okay.
Because
All
I
right.
genuinely thought that was the best game of the week. Sure, Michigan and Duke will have more impact, right? Those were our 2 game of the weeks. However, I went with Arkansas, Alabama because of the volume shooting, the amount of players who played well, and to be honest with you, it was just more entertaining to watch.
so
It was
entertaining to
insane.
watch,
And
yeah.
so my student section of the week, guys, this is kind of a cop-out, but I'm going to give a mid-major and a Power 5 answer, okay?
All right.
It's kind of a
Hey, fair
cop-out.
enough.
Mid-major, St. Louis. Got to shout them out. They were amazing. I mean, the last year St. Louis and VCU played, there was literally a brawl in the stands, which is just insane. And this year, there was a brawl on the court. And so
Hey, consistency.
consistency. And
Gotta
another
love
thing
it.
that's consistent is their students have really been showing out this year. So I got to give them shout out and love. And last night, late night, BYU was fabulous. They were always fabulous. But them and AJ DeBonsa just willed them last night. They had to have it. They've had a devastating week with injury news of Richie Saunders. Then they had to go play Arizona on the road right after. And so they had to have this one. And so those 2 teams, shout out to you. The students were really
Yeah,
involved.
absolutely. Good job, guys.
Coach of the week, easy. Already talked about it. John Shire. He did and I love Dusty May. And him doing laps around Dusty May is not me saying Dusty May did bad. It's me more saying John Shire did good. His under 4 ATO at the under 4 where they got a back screen lob for Isaiah Evans, beautiful. Putting Dame Sarr on Elliot Cadeau, beautiful. Making sure when they press that Isaiah Evans got the ball and to shoot free throws instead of the other people with lower percentage, beautiful. And so his team just executed super well. And so that kind of leads into my team of the week. Guys, I got to go with Duke.
I mean, if you beat Michigan.
They beat Michigan. They also hammered Syracuse. So don't forget about that. And there are teams like you could maybe think of an Arizona, a win against BYU, a win against Houston. But this Duke team could be the overall number 1 seed because of that win.
Yeah,
and so I have to give a shout out to Duke. And so, guys, we're going from one of the biggest brands in college basketball to like Idaho State. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And so
I'm
my
ready.
6th
There
man
we
of the
go.
week, I am fired up for this one, guys. Gus Etchinson, okay? I don't even know if mid-major Michael have heard of it.
I honestly have not.
I
I'm not
haven't
gonna lie.
either until for this. But guys, Deep Dive does his deep dive, okay? Gus Etchinson played for Idaho State Thursday against Montana off the bench. You ready? 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 threes. And
Wow.
it gets better. Saturday off the bench, 36 points, 8 assists, and
36?
36, 8, and 3 3-pointers. And Idaho State is now 12 and 17 on the year, but they were 10 and 17 before the week. They won both those games.
Why is that boy on the bench?
Yeah, no, for real.
I'll tell you why he
That's
was on the
crazy.
bench. Even after the 29 in that Thursday game, going into the Saturday game, he averaged 7 on the year.
What?
Yeah. So this man just
He
had
just
like
caught
the week
fire.
of his life.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
telling you, I have clips of him hitting a 3 from the parking lot. He did the Rajon Rondo behind the back fake scoop layup. I have a clip of that.
To save it, and it came right to Gus Etchison. Gus. Fake the behind the back paddle. Lays it up and in for his.
And so I got to give a shout out to Gus Etchinson. He's a senior. They're not going to make the tournament, but this is a week of a lifetime for him.
Also, shout out to him because I'm looking at his profile and he hasn't played a game since 2023. So I don't know
injuries or
what
something probably.
happened, but in the middle of the season, 2023, he must got hurt, had some kind of injury.
Yeah.
And he had not played until this season.
Yeah.
Wow.
So shout out to him just
Yep.
for recovering through that and getting because that's impressive.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
I
impressive.
have a weird feeling he might start this week, or if he doesn't, I don't know who Idaho State coach is, but like you gotta start
Hey,
that man.
feed
That's
the hot
awesome.
hand.
Feed the
That's a
hot
great
hand.
story.
And
That
that's a
is
good
amazing.
so that just shows love that I got love for mid majors too. Okay.
All right.
Player of the week. I'm big on winning this show, but this man, he lost a game, but it was AJ DeBonsa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
AJ DeBonsa against Arizona played 39 of the 40 minutes. He had 35 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 39 of the 40 minutes. Okay.
Jeez.
Iowa State played all 40 minutes, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. 79 of the 80 possible minutes against Arizona and Iowa State.
That's brutal.
Wow.
And he's playing at altitude at BYU, which he's used to by now, but that's still ridiculous. I mean, he single-handedly said, "Come on, boys, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
We've got to have this one for our resume."
Yeah.
That's literally what he
That's
said
awesome.
in the interview. He said, this is a quad 1 game. We can't keep losing quad 1 games. We have to have this. It's been an awful week with the Saunders injury, and we just can't let that define our season. We have to move on. So I thought that was really cool perspective from an 18-year-old who's got like the world of
that's maturity
on his shoulders. And to be honest with you, his stock is like, I've always been so high on him. His stock, if he could ever get a consistent 3-pointer, his first step, oh my gosh, it's like a step and a half, and he just blows by people. And so really good. Mind blown of the week. Guys, one on the court, one off the court. On the court, Seton Hall beat Georgetown. Why are we talking about Seton Hall? Because they went 0 for 18 from 3 and won the game. I have no clue how that happened. And guys, give you for some perspective, Division I basketball started in 1939. Okay? There has been 252 games previously where a team had shot 18 or more threes and missed all of them. Their record, 5-247 going into that game. They were the 6th team ever in Division I history. So shout out to Shaheen Holloway. You clearly don't like shooting, but you win. So, and then a shocker off the court, and that was Mason Clabo from Illinois State.
Oh, okay. Illinois State.
Illinois State decided he forgot his inhaler in the middle of the game. And so at the timeout, full uniform, doesn't change shoes. And in Illinois, apparently he didn't grab a coat. His dorm room was unlocked, so he didn't even grab his key. Ran in the dorm room, grabbed his inhaler, left the door unlocked so that he could get back in the room after the game, and made it back in 5 minutes before the half even ended. The coach even almost subbed him in.
Wow.
And so there's a clip of the interview, and it's just to die for. It's hilarious. So.
This till afterwards, but he told the assistant coaches, don't put me in, I got to go get my inhaler. So the coaches were thinking, he's going to his locker, he's running to his locker to get his inhaler. We find out afterwards, he forgot to bring his inhaler to the gym. So he ran out of SEFQ, out of the loading dock, over to Tri-Towers, up to the 2nd floor to his dorm room in his uniform. And I said, you didn't put a sweatshirt on or a coat? He said, no, I just ran out. He left his door open, I guess, and he didn't even need a key. So we ran over there. And I mean, I've heard of a lot of stories in my 26 years. I have never heard of a player running back to his dorm in his full uniform. And he made it back. We could have subbed him back in before the end of the half. After he got
amazing. That is awesome. And so that was my mind blow of the week. My stunner of the week for a result is Oregon went on the road and beat USC. Yeah. And to give you some perspective in the midweek, Oregon scored 44 points at home against Minnesota. And so that is just ridiculous that they did that. And USC bubble might have popped because they even had Chad Baker Mazzara in this game. They're not going to have Rodney Rice the rest of the year. So they're as healthy as they could be, and they still lost. And so that's a brutal loss at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Underrated game of the week. I'm going with Auburn and Kentucky. And a lot of noise has been said recently about both these teams. And Auburn won this game by 1 on a tip in by a true freshman. And that came by an offensive foul call by Colin Chandler, which was kind of a 50-50 call, and a hot mic got Coach Pope in the presser saying, I hope these MFers don't find me because I didn't say one bad thing about how they screwed us. And the hot mic was still on. It was just so freaking funny because, like, he's so low-key and chill and just was not happy about that call. And Auburn had lost 5 in a row going into that game. Back and forth. Kentucky let it happen. Like, in this game, there were 11 lead changes and 2 in the final minute. So it was just a great game. And between two teams who are protected in the field, we can make some arguments about that, but right now they are protected in the field somehow. Best court storm of the week was in Iowa. For Iowa and Nebraska. It was so good that I have never seen Ben McCollum not in a dress shirt, and he put on a quarter zip. So they were like, why? And he's like, well, some dude just ran out to me and was bleeding, got blood all over my white dress shirt. So
wow,
that was how good it was in Iowa City. He's like, but I'll take that. I high-fived about 200 people on my way out. I'll take that every time for a win. And so really cool to see a coach buy into a court storm. And dunk of the week, guys, this might be the dunk of the year. Desdrick Lindsey, 2 of those 44 points against Minnesota was the dunk of the year. One of the best dunks I've ever seen. I'm not even going to describe it. Just roll the clip. Like, you'll see it. Roll the clip.
2-on-1. Lindsey, are you serious?
Fair enough.
Awesome.
All right. Man, thank you so much, David, for doing all those accolades.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just trying to highlight what makes college basketball so special. And we're looking in the past a little bit, guys. I think we should look forward to the future.
100%.
We have our Pick'em segment
Yep.
coming up next. And
this might be my favorite segment, guys.
I love this segment.
I think so
love
too.
I love
Even
it
though
so
we're
much.
not doing too great, it's still fun.
That's not why I love it.
Still
I
a good
just like
time.
predicting because I
Yeah.
don't sports bet, and so this makes
Yep.
me feel like I have a buy-in for the game.
You have skin in the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And our group chat does blow up every single time.
Especially the mid-majors.
Yes,
that's true.
Absolutely. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I took Bradley over at Illinois State. It's
W.
Makes it fun.
W in the chat.
It does make it fun.
For sure.
But, I mean,
because
guys,
I know you were really watching that Bradley game.
I was. It was on. It was on instead of Michigan Duke.
Wow.
At the restaurant that I went to.
At Adam's apartment, actually.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, guys, we got to cover Tuesday's games and we got to cover Wednesday's games.
Yes.
And we might have to even cover Thursdays. So
Yeah.
we got
We got
a
a lot.
loaded pick'em
we
segment
do.
to be here. And we are going to go into it right now. And we got to jump straight into Tuesday. And we're going to start Tuesday off with a little bit of mid-major
Yeah, we
action.
are.
So we have St. Louis at Dayton, we kind of talked about earlier on. And guys, I mean, I don't love this Dayton team, but I love the St. Louis team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think they look amazing against VCU. And I think they're going to continue looking amazing. Give me St. Louis.
Yeah, I think this game will be a lot closer than people expect, but I think the St. Louis offense is too good. I don't think Dayton's offense is going to be enough. I'm taking St. Louis.
Guys, Dayton did me right last time I picked them against Michael's favorite team in America, George Mason.
That's true.
So
Hey, not anymore. Cal Baptist still has that first spot.
Yes.
So I gotta fade them, and I usually love home teams, but I am going St. Louis. I try to say the bracket sometimes or the graphic sometimes, guys, but
Not in this
I
one.
love the Billikens. I love shooting, I love depth, and St. Louis has both of those. Give me the Billikens.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we get to talk about a team that I love.
Yeah.
This is
we
Adam's
got
favorite team in America.
Miami on the road at Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you mentioned 14-1. Florida State doesn't really lose to Miami.
No.
And guys, Miami's the better team here.
Yeah.
But Florida State is at home.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, right,
Numbers
David?
don't lie.
Give me the Seminoles
Yeah.
to beat Miami. I'm going with my gut this time. I know
That's good. That's
I
good.
normally go against my gut because I just think that Miami is good and they're a fantastic team. But going with my gut, I think Florida State gets this one.
Yep.
Yeah, you might have that number, but I have a number for you. I think I've lost every single ACC game that I've trailed you on, so I'm going with Miami to win this game on the road.
Dude, I think I might have worse ACC picks statistically than anyone else because I know it too well. It's such a confusing conference.
I understand. That's
Adam,
fair.
I'm gonna give you some confidence. I'm going Florida State.
Yeah, baby,
All
let's
right,
go.
there you go.
And that's someone who's picked Miami in a lot
That's
of
true.
games.
Mm,
And so
big ones, too.
I'm going with Florida State because I think they shoot the ball better and they're at home and guys, they're hotter than fish grease. Like they're not like that SMU game at the end of the year is giving me nightmares. So
Absolutely. And it's a quad 1 game now.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
Florida
guys,
State's-
Syracuse fell out of quad 1.
No.
That's
Oh,
a disaster.
no.
They are quad 2 now, and that's a loss for the Mustangs. So that is brutal. But
Well, whatever.
Syracuse, please win. Just straight up, just win.
Just win. It's going to be hard for them.
They're at 76.
That's
So,
okay. They'll be fine. But I mean, yeah, you're right. FSU is super, super hot right now. They went up 11 spots in the net this week. alone. So we'll see if they continue on.
Also,
that
students
Tuesday.
show out. Like, make that an environment.
Mm-hmm. They might because it's Miami.
Yeah, of course.
So we will see. But I mean, we have another rivalry. But this time we're hopping to the other side of the country. We're hopping into California.
Yeah, Big Ten country.
USC at UCLA.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a big one.
It's
a big one in West
gonna
Hollywood.
it's gonna be a tight one, but I mean UCLA just beat Illinois and USC is on a 3-game losing streak and just lost to Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, UCLA's home team. I'm taking UCLA.
Yeah.
Very fair. Very, very fair. I think that UCLA sees the opportunity to burst USC's bubble, and they're incredibly motivated by it. I think USC gets this win.
USC?
Oh, no, UCLA.
I was
Oh,
about to
God.
say.
I was
Oh,
about
my
to put
goodness.
USC
No. UCLA is going to win.
All right.
In my opinion, I think.
I got UCLA as well.
Yeah.
They're at home, and they are coming off. I believe in crowd momentum, and nothing brings crowd momentum more than beating a top 10 team at home and then playing your rival the next game.
Yep.
So I think Paulie's going to be one of the best atmospheres of the year. I think they're going to love bursting UFC's bubble if it's not bursted by Oregon yet. Give me the Bruins.
Yep, absolutely. And guys, I mean, those are our Tuesday games, so we're just going to hop right into Wednesday. And Wednesday's kicking off with a big one in the Big East. And, I mean, we've seen this game already this year at St. John's. So it's St. John's versus UConn, but this time it's in UConn.
Yeah.
And I love the St. John's team. I think that they have been playing incredibly good basketball, but guys, it's at UConn, and UConn, just give me the Huskies, just straight up.
All right,
you can't argue against it.
This is one I would usually go with UConn on, but I do not like what I've seen from UConn lately. That Creighton loss is really sticking with me, and I try not to let one game really define what I think of a team. But I've felt like this whole season UConn's really been disappointing. I'm going to take St. John's. That's very uncharacteristic of me, but I'm going to take St. John's.
Alabama and St. John's back-to-back weeks.
I know. I can't believe I'm doing it. I would never do it, but I'm picking St. John's.
Do it.
There we go.
Well, go with your gut, man. Go with your gut.
My gut is Connecticut. And my gut last time they played was St. John's. So I feel very good about this because Connecticut is at home, and they just lost at home, but they got back right against Villanova. And so I think that Gample's going to be loud. I think it's going to be rocking. Hurley, if it's not, might join the darn student section himself and just start yelling at him to get loud. So I got the Huskies to beat St. John's.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we are hopping into the SEC for this one, Michael, your alma mater.
Yep.
Texas A&M is going on the road and playing Arkansas. I was just in College Station this weekend. And, I mean, guys, little hot take here. I think A&M needs this one. I think that they're going to get this one.
Oh, okay.
I want the Aggies to beat
there we go.
Arkansas
I love it.
on the road. Do I think they're the better team? No.
No.
But do I think they're going to win? Sure. Why
Okay.
not? Let's do it.
Enough.
Let's do it.
I mean, that
Go
would be
Aggies.
absolutely massive win for this A&M team. That, like you said, I do think they need it more than Arkansas does. And A&M's my alma mater. But I am going with Arkansas. I'm trusting my gut.
No bias.
I know it's really disappointing, but I can't. I wanted to let the bias take over, but I can't. I think Acuff's going to have a great game. Yeah. I'm going with Arkansas.
All I'm going to say is SMU beat Louisville straight off bias. So,
yeah.
Hey, Adam, you just lost all your brownie points with my people in my household because you had picked Texas the last couple games. And my sister thought you were the best person in the world, and you just picked A&M. So that is not going. I'm going Arkansas. They're at home. I love Acuff. I think he's amazing. Billy Richmond
is incredible.
He's incredible. And Billy Richmond plays so much better at home than he does on the road. He had like 24 against Missouri, and he had like 20 the previous game. Give me the Arkansas Hogs. Woo pig.
No, I mean, this would be a tough loss for A&M, though. Like, I don't know. I don't know where they would be.
Their
if they
bubble
lose
is
this one.
flattening.
They've been inconsistent recently, and I just think that they need this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, what are they? Like 2-6 in the last 6 games?
2-6 in the last 6.
2-4 in the last 6 games. So, I mean, they need this, guys. They need it. So, we will see. But, I mean, we're going to hop over to Big Ten country again. We got Ohio State at Iowa. And, guys, this is a quad 1 game for Ohio State.
Yeah.
They have not won a quad 1 game all year. They are 0-9 in quad 1. That is ridiculous. And I think that trend's going to continue. Give me the Hawkeyes. I think that they win at home against this Ohio State team.
No, I keep saying it. Love Iowa's offense. I'm going with Iowa.
Yeah.
I can't say the graphic. And I want Bruce Thornton in the tournament so bad. I've said that so many times, but I got Iowa. Bennett Sturts is like one of my favorite players in America. I love that kid. I think he has more heart, more dog. Kelvin Sampson would love that kid if he had him on his team. I think he is prototypical. And I love how he stayed loyal to McCollum, all Division II, Drake, Iowa, the whole way, which is really cool. Give me the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go Iowa. And, guys, now we got to talk about the Mustangs,
Yeah, we do.
baby. We got to talk about SMU. The quad 1 Mustangs going on the road and playing Cal in California. So, and guys, I really like what I've been seeing from SMU recently. I think that Syracuse game kind of took it to heart and really turned our season around, beating Louisville and obviously Boston College by 24 points. I think we continue. I think we continue on this good run. I'm a little bit scared of this Cal team. I think they're a good team, but I think we're better. Go Mustangs. I'm picking SMU.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a super tight, hard game for SMU to win, but I think it would say a lot if they can pull this one off.
What does Kim Palm have the line at?
Right now, I think it's 2-point difference with SMU winning at 81-79. But, I mean, I'm at SMU right now.
Yeah.
I got to go with SMU. I'm taking SMU.
Absolutely.
I got SMU. I go here. And that's
I go. It'll be a great game, though.
Yeah.
I'll definitely watch that one.
9 p.m. tip. Michael loves it.
Oh, there we go. Now I'll definitely watch it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Unless it conflicts with this next game.
Oh, yeah.
Because this one's
Santa
a big
Clara
one.
at St. Mary's. It probably will conflict with
It
this
probably
game.
will.
I mean, yeah, that's a big,
Shout out YouTube TV Quad Box.
Yep.
big West Coast Conference action. So, Santa Clara at St. Mary's. Guys, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. You know what? Give me Santa Clara.
Okay.
I like
okay,
Santa Clara.
I like it.
home teams, but I mean, St. Mary's is at home, but I think Santa Clara's got this. I'm picking road.
Yeah,
I'm picking the road
yeah,
this
you
time
are.
Yeah.
because what I've been doing hasn't been working. So
Yep.
I'm going for some hot takes. Give me Santa Clara. They might even be favored in this game.
I don't think so. I think St. Mary's is favored by 3 so far, or at least that's what Kim Pom has.
Yeah.
I want to pick Santa Clara.
Oh,
I really
no.
do. I want to pick Santa Clara. I picked them against Gonzaga. I really do like this team. But at St. Mary's, I think St. Mary's is going to have a great game. I'm going St. Mary's.
I'm going Santa Clara.
All right,
Yeah,
there you
let's go,
go.
baby.
It says Santa Clara, and I was going back and forth because St. Mary's is at home.
Yeah.
But I've watched more of Santa Clara
I
this
have too,
year,
yeah.
and so my eyes are not telling me wrong. I believe in Santa Clara. I hope they get an at-large bid because I don't think
Yes.
they're going to win
Yeah.
the WCC. But they only have one quad one win on the year,
Yeah.
and so this is a quad one game for both teams. Actually, no, not for both teams. It's quad one for Santa Clara, quad two for St. Mary's. I think Santa Clara takes advantage of the quad one opportunity and gets it done on the road.
No, I was going to say, I really hope that Santa Clara team makes the tournament because they're going to be
Yes.
so much fun to watch.
I agree.
Yeah.
I liked
absolutely.
what I saw.
And
when I went.
we got one more late night game. Guys, we're
Yep.
spoiled on this Wednesday
Yeah,
night,
no,
to be
for
honest.
real.
And no Washingtoners.
No Washington or Oregon.
Nope.
So, I mean, we got Utah State at San Diego State, and that's a big one in the Mountain West.
It is.
And, dude, guys, this Utah State team is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously their home environment is incredible, but I love watching that team. San Diego State, they're just not as good. Straight up.
Yeah.
I think Utah State wins this game.
Yeah, this Utah State team is way more balanced offensively and defensively than San Diego State is. San Diego State has a great defense, but their offense has been so bad, and they turn over the ball so much, and that's something Utah State, they force, I think, the 16th most turnovers defensively. So great defense against an offense that's really struggling. It's tough. I think it'll be a good game, but I'm going to Utah State.
Nice. I'll say the graphic. I'm going San Diego State.
Okay.
And I know both these teams are coming off a lot of losses. Okay. Utah State just went to Reno and lost. San Diego State has lost 2 in a row. They just lost in Fort Collins against Colorado State. San Diego State's at home. They need this one more. They're 1-5 in quad one. They got to get this one. This is one of the few quad one opportunities in the Mountain West, especially at home.
Yep.
You have to take care of home court here. I do. BJ Davis, which we have a lot of BJs on our team.
Oh, yeah.
So he plays a lot like Boopy Miller. He's not as good offensively, but he's a short guard, can control, high assist rate, good in the mid-range, excellent at the foul line. I think he takes over. And I think, Trammell, if you're listening, I got San Diego State.
All right. All right. The Aztecs.
Yeah.
San Diego State. So we'll see.
Adam
what
knows
happens.
that. Adam knows that mascot.
Absolutely. So, guys, that's the end of Wednesday, and we got one more game. We got Thursday night to cover. It's the big one.
Yep.
We got Michigan State at Purdue. And you believed in the power of Mackey whenever Purdue got whopped by
that was
Michigan.
unfortunate.
Whopped.
Whopped.
Whopper.
Walloped. Well, they also got whopped, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
fair enough.
I also believe in the power of Mackey, though. I think that, I mean, I love both of these teams. I think it's going to be great basketball to watch. I think that Mackey's going to be the difference, straight up. I think that Purdue is going to win. I don't think Michigan State can do what Michigan did. So,
Yeah.
give me Purdue in this one. Go Boilermakers.
No, I agree. I'm going Purdue as well. I mean, this is offense versus defense. This is a classic, great matchup. I can't wait. But I think, like you said, Mackey's going to be going.
Yep.
I think Purdue's going to pull it off.
I got Purdue.
go.
I like Purdue a lot, and we've done really good with Big Ten. All three of us picking the same team recently. Not at all. Illinois. Shout out to them because they have made us look bad. Twice.
We also
all
picked
three.
Syracuse over UNC.
Yeah, that too.
That was really stupid of us.
I
I'm
mean,
not
it
gonna
was,
lie.
but also.
Yeah, my bias showed. So, but I got Purdue. They're at home. I love Mackey. It's like, you know how we say no one beats Illinois at home?
Yeah.
No one beats Purdue at home, even though people have, at this point, no one
I
beats.
mean, Michigan beat them.
Yeah. So
Like, do we even count Michigan?
No.
Michigan, Illinois, Iowa State have all went into Mackey and won this year.
Dang.
So
Jeez. And Michael, you put this game on.
Yes, I
Yo,
did.
the local team.
did.
We know you put this game
The
on.
local
here.
team.
Who is it?
UT Arlington
Mavs up.
at Cal Baptist.
Go Lancers. That's all I need to say.
What
No.
is a Lancer?
Honestly,
No
I don't
idea.
know.
Is it like a
But-
knight or something? Or is it like a thunderbolt?
Thunder
I
on.
honestly am not sure, but
Do not thunder on.
Oh my gosh.
Well, while David's looking up what a lancer is,
One who carries a lance.
So it's like
a knight.
A military unit.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
No, but I think it'll be a good game. But I mean, both these teams, they've split now this season series, so this is a big game for CBU.
Yeah, shout out the WAC being WAC with
Dominic Daniels.
with 3 conference games a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, go Lancers, baby. I want Cal Baptist in this one. I'm not picking the local team.
No.
I'm going against UTA.
I did.
I want CBU.
Yeah, I did that once with UTA.
Against Utah Valley.
Not doing that
They got
again.
killed.
No, I'm gonna go with the Lancers. Like Michael, I'm gonna pick the religious team here. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yes.
So
Perfect.
Cal Baptist.
Perfect. And we got one more game.
Yep.
Oh,
We got our
yeah.
famous Western Illinois Leathernecks.
Hey, where are they in the net?
Oh,
by the
they
way?
fell.
Oh, no.
To 362.
No.
They were at 361. So let me
Gosh.
give you an example.
That's terrible for their
The
tournament.
3
odds.
teams behind them are Gardner Webb, Coppin State, and Mississippi Valley State. And Adam?
Mississippi Valley State, they just won their
Yeah, they
first
did.
Division I game.
Woo! Shout out to the SWAC.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
They won their first ever game against
Texas
Southern.
Yeah,
Texas
that's what I thought
Southern.
it was too.
And it was on a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Valley.
Yeah, shout out to
Mississippi
the
Valley State.
fans,
Yeah,
that showed up.
They stormed the court.
Yeah,
there was like
Wait, did
12.
they?
There was like
Yeah.
12
That's
people that
awesome.
ran off their seats.
That's awesome.
Court
I love
sprinkle.
that.
Yeah,
Court sprinkle.
Court sprinkle. I like that. Yeah, I mean, so guys, Western Illinois, they also lost whenever we picked them, so
To
we no
Moorhead.
we no longer have a 100% success rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not going to deter me.
Nope.
I'm going the Leathernecks.
Guys, Thursday nights in my life have been really boring these last couple of weeks. I've actually watched some of the Western Illinois.
Oh my gosh.
That's
ESPN
amazing.
Plus, I've
Yep.
watched the second halves a little bit. So
Yep.
I'm going with Western Illinois.
No, I mean, we have to take Western
course.
Illinois.
Let's go,
Western
baby.
Illinois.
The
all
Leathernecks.
the way.
All the way.
Yeah, let's do it. Well,
SIUE not going to win.
Suey.
Not gonna win, yeah.
Woo, pig, sweet.
Yeah. So, but I mean, guys, that is our pick'em segment.
Yes.
That is our podcast.
Let's
and
go.
we really hope that you enjoyed specifically the Tyler Lundblade interview.
Yes.
Because we are going to try to kind of just highlight all the players that we love watching. So.
Yep.
Maybe we can even get Dominic Daniels
Hey,
Jr.
that would be
Hey.
pretty sick.
Michael,
I'm not going to lie.
Michael, that'd be like meeting LeBron for him. So,
Honestly, basically.
Yeah.
so we're going to try to ramp everything up. We really appreciate y'all for getting to the end of this one. Make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms.
Linktree is
because
in the
we're not going to stop
description.
doing this.
Nope.
Nope.
So we are super excited for March to happen.
Guys, we're less than 4 weeks from a bracket.
Yes, it's going to
It's
be
exciting.
It's
and
insane.
next week, Monday, it's not this coming Monday, but the Monday after, 8 days from now, the first conference tournaments begin.
Ooh,
So it's
8
a
days.
horizon
I'm
in
gonna
the Sun
get
Belt.
mid-majors.
So we are super
excited.
excited for
Nothing
what's to come.
screams spring break like a mid-major conference tournament.
Yep.
So thank you all for following along with us. We are super excited for what's to come.
Yep.
Peace out and God bless.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all in the next one.